One day, you find yourself wandering on one of the many dirt roads which crisscross the land near your home. You've wandered along this route 1,000 times, but today you're feeling introspective, and you start to look at the world around you in a different light. In places, the dirt of this particular road wears away and reveals carved stones that fit neatly together. You can guess that if you were to dig away the dirt, these stones would make up the whole path beneath your feet. Flanking this road, to your left and your right, you see grand promontories of rock and other materials sticking out from the grass. Though most of them are mounds of stone, some of them are in strange shapes. They're overgrown, but you can tell that they don't resemble any kind of building that you're familiar with. In fact, because of how decayed they are, you can say for certain whether these are buildings. They could as easily be natural features of the landscape. If they were put here by someone or something, it's been a long time since someone lived here. If you were to climb one of these promontories and look around, you would find yourself absolutely surrounded by similar features. They would number in their hundreds, maybe even their thousands. According to people better travelled than you, this is only one of these ruins, of which there are countless throughout the land. These landmarks pepper your whole world. Frost-worn rocks, the actions of some previous peoples, or some previous race of giants, once as alive and breathing as you, now all gone and forgotten, leaving only abandoned sites like this one. The obvious question then becomes, what happened to them? You have heard so many stories, each one different, who they were, what they achieved, and ultimately what they did wrong. Maybe they starved. Maybe they suffered from a horrific plague. Maybe their actions displeased some god or another powerful being. Maybe they had some cataclysmic war with weapons that you couldn't even imagine. In truth, with so many different stories about who they were and what happened, you could never be sure. You'll never really know. As you continue your walk, your mind strays. The fate of this civilization is, ultimately, irrelevant for you. It's just a passing interest. Your mind wanders onto other things. Ruins provide us with an opportunity to meditate and reflect in a very specific way. Looking at ruins can come with an appreciation for what was. The people who once lived in the ruins, the lives that they lived, the world in which they lived them, social bonds, politics and culture, all as complicated and nuanced as our own world, as different to today as the most distant country. All of this has faded away. Equally, ruins allow us to put ourselves in these people's shoes. One day, just as their world came to an end and left only ruins, our world will as well. And our complicated lives, political turmoil, and cultural nuance will all be some future person's brief, wistful contemplation. This strange feeling of loss and introspection has a word in Old English. Dustsceawung means dust contemplation. What once was, now, is dust. And what currently is, will also one day be dust. Britain is a land peppered in ruins. Even as long ago as the Anglo-Saxon period, there were Roman ruins, abandoned Iron Age hill forts, Neolithic burial mounds and stone circles, all of which were the alien and unexplainable actions of ones who came before. And Anglo-Saxons were fascinated by them. It's common to find the graves of early Anglo-Saxon people in these prehistoric places, most notably at Stonehenge, but also at a variety of other stone circles and Neolithic sites. We can't be certain why, or what exactly they thought of these ruins, but it was important to early Anglo-Saxon communities that they stake their claim to these ancient monuments, and as the period went on, they continued to be central to their lives. When ancient ruinous places are described in Anglo-Saxon fiction, they inspire a sense of awe. But this is marred by a sense of loss. In Beowulf, one of the last things Beowulf does before his death, when lying fatally wounded by the dragon, is admire the work of giants, the stonework of the dragon's mound, stone arches on pillars, holding the mound up, a combination of both Roman and Neolithic architectural features. There was a sense that he would, imminently, be joining the builders of these features. The Anglo-Saxon poem The Ruin is similar. Its whole theme is the loss of a former civilization. This masonry is wondrous. Fates broke it. Courtyard pavements smashed. The work of giants is decaying. Fallen roofs, ruinous towers. But we're also once told, bright were the castle buildings, many the bathing halls, high the many gables, great the noise of the multitude, many a mead hall full of festivity. The poem flickers between what the poet sees and what the poet imagines. People just like the poet, who feasted in mead halls, once lived in these places, but now 100 generations have departed, and the builders are held by the earth. Where did Anglo-Saxon people think these ruins came from? In Beowulf, a story is read which details what happened to a race of giants. These beings, we're told, were all washed away in a vast flood. This event is sombre, but quickly the poem reminds us that these giants were foreign to the Christian God, and for this crime they deserved the flood. The ruins stood as a testament to the sins of their creators. I can hear some of you answering this question with the Romans, but this answer isn't as easy as it appears. For sure, they knew about the Romans, but what exactly did they know? Bede wrote that stone buildings were all built by the Romans, with the native British being too lazy to build with stone. But then, Bede was about as well educated a man as existed in Britain, and even he gets things wrong about the Romans. He attributes the construction of Hadrian's Wall to the 5th century, for example. So we can probably say that the average person knew even less, and perhaps even nothing at all, about the Romans. In The Ruin, if the imagined ruins are Roman, as they sound, then what was thought about them wasn't even close to Roman. Bede also doesn't deal at all with the question of pre-Roman structures. Did he believe that these were also Roman? Our account in Beowulf, set in Sweden, shows that they couldn't accurately draw a line between what was Roman, what predated the Romans, or even what was natural. Even when some knowledge of what a Roman was returned to Britain, this wouldn't get in the way of a good story. There are stories of giants inhabiting Roman ruins from as late as 1700 AD. These ideas stuck around. Civilizations are very fragile things, but humanity would be very difficult to entirely extinct. It's very likely that, long after we're all dead, there will be others who browse our civilization's ruins, and to them we will be nameless, faceless people that they too misinterpret. We may be seen as giants or other mythical beings, but their misinterpretations won't really matter, to us or to them. They will speak of us with sadness and with regret, but they will speak as much of our gargantuan egos as they will of our gargantuan ruins.